You don't want to let it be. If you can't set yourself free, take your mind into another place and time. Free yourself up to find the universal mind. The universal mind. The universal mind.
Live from Hollywood, it's Paranormal Tonight. I'm Mark Summers, and now, here's your host, Dan Harary.
Dan Harary. I always love how my friend Mark Summers says my name at the top there. He's such a nice guy. He's a good friend of mine. Hello, everybody. Welcome back live from Hollywood. It's Paranormal Tonight. Technically live from Beverly Hills. It's Paranormal Tonight, but I don't think there's much of a difference. Hope everyone's doing well. Can't believe we're almost at Halloween. We're talking about Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's already. Where did the year go? Wishing us all good luck through the elections. That could be something scary and something special both this year. I wish everyone well and all good things. My guest tonight is a dear friend of mine, and I've known her, I think, about 20 years. I'm going to have to ask her, but she and I met at a dry cleaners a few blocks from my house in Beverly Hills, I think 20 years ago. We fell in love at first sight, and we've been friends, good friends from the moment we met, haggling over a dry cleaning bill, I think it was. So I'm going to bring her in, and we'll do the show. Known for her, oh, there she is. Oh, okay. Well, you can bring her in now. All right, Erin, you have to sit tight. I have to read your bio. Hold on a second. Okay, and if anything's wrong, just feel free to interrupt. Known for her chameleon-like character portrayals across a diverse range of movies and TV shows, the elegant Erin Carufel has, during the past 20 years, become a highly in-demand Hollywood actress, appearing in such TV shows as Here and Now, CSI Miami, Without a Trace, ER, Scrubs, Charmed, and Return to the Batcave. Her feature films include roles in Peppermint, Gone, The Lincoln Lawyer, Untraceable, and Mr. and Mrs. Smith, among many others. During the course of her career, Erin has worked with many high-profile Hollywood stars, including Clint Eastwood, Diane Lane, Matthew McConaughey, Chris Pine, Jennifer Garner, and Hilary Swank, to name a few. Erin, I have a funny Hilary Swank story I just remembered. She's also a philanthropist and has donated hundreds of hours to feeding the hungry, helping the homeless, and aligning herself with nonprofits such as the ALS Foundation and the Alyssa Ann, is it Ruck?
Alyssa Ann Roosh.
Roosh. I knew I'd get that wrong. And the Alyssa Ann Roosh Byrne Foundation. Erin also works with the physically challenged by coaching gymnastics for the Special Olympics. In 2017, Erin married actor Scott Connors and launched her own production company, Irish Rose Entertainment. The couple has two young, adorable daughters, and Erin sends me pictures of all the time. Like I said, I met Erin at a dry cleaners. We became friends instantly. Race, can we see photo number 1, please? All right, so here's a nice photo of us, Erin, a few years ago in Beverly Hills. I think you may have even treated me, so that's made it even more special. Erin and I always, when we have lunch, when we have our rare lunches, we go to Spago, and she treats me, and I'll say, okay, if you want to treat me, that's fine. I have no problem.
We were celebrating something. What were we celebrating?
Oh, how much we love each other, I guess. I don't know.
I think it was something we were like celebrating your book or one of your books, I think.
Oh, who can remember, Erin? I don't know what I had for breakfast. Now, here's the thing. Erin promised me she's going to share a ghost story tonight in public that she's never discussed before. So we'll get to that in a minute. And okay, Ray, so we can take that off. All right. So, Erin, there you are. How are you, my little friend?
I'm great. I'm great. Yeah, really, really, really well.
Good. Thank you for doing this for me. We've been talking about it for a while. I told you about the show, I think, before I even had the show.
Yes.
Yeah, I was given the show last September, October, and then it debuted in January. So I'm very glad to our schedules aligned this
Yeah,
time.
congratulations. You've had a lot of wonderful guests.
Yeah, I've been very, very gifted. Last week I had Freddy Krueger, right? Freddy Krueger. And tonight I have the beautiful Erin Carufel. So one thing about me, Erin, I'm very diverse. I appeal to a wide swath of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Great. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Sure, I'm glad you're here. So the first question I always ask everyone is just generically, whatever you want to say. Tell us a little bit about your childhood, where you're from originally, a little bit about what your parents did, and what were some of your interests when you were growing up as a kid?
Okay. Well, I'm from Beaverton, Oregon, which is a suburb of Portland, Oregon. And I wasn't born there. I was born in Modesto, California. But then when I was 2, my dad got transferred with his company, and we moved to Beaverton, and that's where I grew up. And I stayed there until I graduated high school. And I always knew that I wanted to act ever since I was little. But it really hit me where it was like this spiritual epiphany when I was on stage doing this British comedy musical called Me and My Girl. And the show had ended, you know, the audience was on their feet applauding. And I had a moment that brought me to tears because I realized that it was that moment that I knew what I was meant to do, which was to be an actor.
How old were you at that time?
Oh, I was 15, 16. I think it was like 15 or 16 years old, and I had that moment. But I was always saying since I was a kid that I wanted to be an actor, and I was always saying to my parents that I wanted to. After high school, I was going to graduate from high school and then move down to Los Angeles and either attend USC or UCLA, and I was going to, you know, study theater and be an actor. And I ended up going to USC and studying theater. I majored in theater, and
right.
Here we are.
It's you know, I love stories from people who had a calling. You know, you had a calling. You did. You had a calling. I went to college with Howard Stern. He had a radio show in college. He had a calling. I worked with Bruce Springsteen when I was 16. He was penniless, didn't have a house or a car. He hitchhiked around Asbury Park with his thumb and his guitar, and he would play for $1. I used to see him play for $1 at a bar. He had a calling, and nothing was going to stop him. You know, so you were very fortunate. You had the calling fairly early on, and you just followed it, and it worked out for you. That's terrific. I love those kinds of stories. Thank
you. Yeah, and fortunately, I had very supportive parents who you know supported me in that dream, and it's helped guide me and lead me and not back away from it, because it's really easy as an artist to have a dream and then to feel like, oh, it's impossible. And then if your parents are saying it's impossible, then you really feel it's impossible. But fortunately, I was really grateful to have very supportive parents.
There's a famous story. John Lennon was raised by his Aunt Mimi because his mother was killed when he was young. And his Aunt Mimi used to say, "John, God damn it, you'll never make a living with that goddamn guitar." John Lennon. Is that great? Right. So some people do it. Bruce Springsteen's father kicked him out of the house. Get rid of that goddamn guitar.
Yeah.
So some people are more blessed than others. My father told me to move to Hollywood when I was 24. He goes, "Go to Hollywood, make yourself there a name there." I said, "Okay." And then I did. So it's great to have supporting parents. Did you study acting like formally as a child?
I studied dance and voice formally. And then when I was in junior high school, was part of the thespian society, part of the drama club. So yes, I mean, if you want to call like junior high and high school training formal.
No,
like,
sure, of course, yeah, of course.
Dancing since I was 3, and so being used to this, I was used to the stage and felt comfortable on this. Actually, sometimes I didn't feel comfortable on the stage. I remember one time I was in tap class, and I was just probably maybe 4 or 5 years old, and we were doing this little line. Imagine me as like a 5-year-old with little tap shoes on, and we were holding the waist of the little girl in front of us, and we were doing like this little snake around the room to music. And then I just remember like feeling so shy that I just ran to my mom's arms and crying, because I don't know, in that moment I just didn't want to be seen, and it was embarrassing, and I just remember that distinctly. So I wasn't always comfortable with it.
Did you ever have severe stage fright? Like throwing up or forgetting your lines, or just overwhelming stage fright in a live performance ever?
Yes.
Well, let me tell you this, you're a good company. Barbara Streisand, Carly Simon, and John Lennon used to throw up before big concerts. So you're in good company.
Yeah, it does something to your nervous system for sure. Yeah. I never like threw up, but you definitely, at least for me, I'll speak for myself. There's a physical sensation that happens, and you just have to make friends with it. I've learned to make friends with it, and not back off of that, and knowing that that's actually a good thing. And I had an acting teacher once tell me that your nerves are your talent looking for an avenue. And ever since he said that, I was like, oh, okay, so these nerves, this thing that I have going on in my body, it's just my talent. It's wanting to express itself somehow. So once I just was okay with that, then I'm like, I didn't have to make it wrong. I was like, okay.
I love that line. I really do. I did stand-up comedy in LA from 1999 to 2002 because I had a 6th grade teacher, Erin, teacher from hell, and she always made people do an oral report, book report, or whatever, history report in front of the class. And when I was up there, stand up straight, you're slouching, you're mumbling, I can't hear you, talk to the back of the room, smile. She'd just be like, cursing every kid that went up. I had a fear of public speaking my whole life. Come on, this darn teacher from 6th grade. So when I was an adult, I said, I'm going to overcome it and do the hardest thing there is, which is stand-up comedy. So I did stand-up comedy at the Improv, at the Ice House, and it's before I met you, and the Comedy Store many times. And when I was on the stage in the moment, I was fine, Erin. But like waiting for them, and next is Dan Harary, waiting for that to call my name. I'm in the bathroom I'm like dry heaving. I'm dry heaving.
Oh wow!
And it never went away for 3 years. I never could get past that. It was horrible.
Wow! But good for you, really like taking that and and turning it around and facing that, because I think it takes courage to do that.
I would say, in the many things that in my 68 years, that was one of the most scariest, really, the scariest moments. And there are times when you stand up comedy, it's you and your audience and your material. And there were times, Erin, that I was so nervous I would blank out and literally just forget my material. And then it's like, oh my God, you don't know what you're doing. When you get off the stage, you're a joke, you're horrible. And the other is, don't worry, just relax. It's going to come back. Yeah. It always came back. So anyway, I don't want to talk about me. I want to talk about you. All right, Race, can we see slide number 2, please? We have some cute slides of you. All right, so Erin, look, first of all, look at that outfit, man. You look so hot in that outfit.
Thank you.
All right, so I have to let me do my little thing here. You've worked with a lot of famous people, and you've appeared in a lot of TV shows and movies. I want to run through some of these photos. This is Return to the Batcave. You look just stunning. What year was this movie?
I believe that was 2001 or 2002, something like that.
And was that fun? I mean, did they let you keep that costume for Halloween?
Oh man, I wish. But the wardrobe was actually exact to the 1960s wardrobe that they would wear in the show. So they had, all the same patterns and everything. Of course, they fit mine to my body. But I should have put in my contract to keep that costume because people ask me about that costume and I wish I had it, but I unfortunately don't.
That's maybe one of the all-time great costumes.
I think I did ask, but they wouldn't let me keep it because they said they were going to put it, that the studio wanted it because they were going to put it into a museum. So I said, okay, but I really want it because
it might be in the Hollywood Museum on Vine. Have you ever been to that one? I think actually think it is there.
Is it?
It used to be the Max Factor makeup building. Now it's a Hollywood museum. And I think it's there. Do you know the name Yvonne Craig? She was the original Batgirl.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Actually, I read her book before, I like to dive into research when working. And so I read her book. I think it was called From Ballet to the Batcave and Beyond.
Oh, wow. That's great. I never heard that. I have to read that.
And I watched all the episodes. I went to the in Beverly Hills, the television museum. You could go in there and you could watch all the old episodes of these shows. And this was before, this was early 2000s, so it was before all the archive stuff online. But I spent hours and days just watching any footage that I could to try to, emulate her movement, the kicks that she did, the pointed toes when she kicked. So it was a lot of fun.
Now you look terrific. Now this guy who was Robin, he looks a lot like Burt Ward, and I'm going to have Burt Ward on my show in February. I just signed him. Now here's the thing: I was 10 when Batman came on TV. I was 10, and me and my little friends, and there was the Monkees too, which changed my life because I started playing the drums because the Monkees. But Batman and Robin, Aaron, when I was 10, that was like profound. That was like these guys. That's Batman. I mean, that was really Batman and Robin. That they were the real thing.
Yeah.
And my friends and I, we had the bubblegum cards, and at recess we used to play. We were Batman, Robin, fighting the Penguin and the Joker. I mean, so
they were in that movie. Burt Ward and Adam West. They had cameras in that movie.
Did you get to meet them?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, I didn't share any scenes with them because I played the young Yvonne Craig, so it was I didn't get to interact with them on camera, but I did get to meet them.
Adam, I'll tell you, in his day, Adam West was like a Beatle. He and Burt Ward, they did live shows at shopping malls, and girls, people fainting and screaming. They were huge. Wow. Race number 4, please. I think. Yeah. Now there, when you sent me this, I thought that was Yvonne Craig. To tell you the truth.
Nice. Yeah, that's me and Jason.
I love this picture so much. I hope you have this picture somewhere in your house framed. I think it's awesome.
I don't, but maybe I should.
It's terrific. All right, let's do number 5 race, my friend here. All right, so I had to put a naked Erin in there because you know me and my proclivities. And now let's do the next one, race number 6. Okay, so you're on the set of Scrubs here, is that correct?
Yes, it was the season finale of Scrubs, and I played a woman who falls through the ceiling in the bathtub. Like he's living in such a crappy apartment that the tub from upstairs falls through the ceiling, and I was in it.
That's hilarious. No, I know the guy on the right was the star of Scrubs. Who's this other angry guy?
Oh, I don't know. It was another actor who played my angry boyfriend. But I don't remember his name.
Now, was this embarrassing to do this at all, or did your parents say, "Oh my God," or did any repercussions from doing a bathroom scene on national TV?
No, I mean I was fully covered, and they had lots of bubbles in the bath, so you didn't actually see anything. So it was, it's all just implied.
Okay, it's very cute. It's such a. I look at the dog. The dog is like bored. He's like, yeah, there's a naked girl. I've seen it all. I don't care.
Big deal.
No big deal. Little girl just fell from the ceiling in a bathtub. Yeah, okay, I'm cool. Where's my kibble and bits?
Right.
All right, number 7 race, I think it is now. Okay, so this is you and Tom Hanks' son, Colin Hanks. Tell us what project this was.
So this was a movie called Untraceable, and Diane Lane starred in this film. It was a thriller, and we shot it where I'm from, actually. We shot it in Portland, Oregon. So that was fun. I had my parents to set that day, and I think it was either my mom or my dad taking this photo. And I played his love interest in this film, and it was great. It was a lot of fun. He was really nice, and we had a great time.
And you're something of a big shot in Oregon, aren't you? I mean, you are.
Hometown girl keeps getting projects back home.
I mean, you've been in, I believe you've been in the local paper a couple times.
Yeah.
If I remember. Yeah.
I've been Oregonian.
Right, that's right. That must be cool to go back to your hometown, you know, with Tom Hanks' son and Diane Lane, and you're like, yeah, I'm cool.
No, it was great. It was it's always fun to work and to meet your fellow peers and make movie magic.
And your parents must be like, yeah, our daughter said she was going to do it, and went to Hollywood, and she did.
Yeah. I remember. I think it was that weekend or a weekend after that. Like, I was in the Oregonian, and my mom brought it to the local mall. She was showing like the cosmetic ladies, you know, like,
right.
Look at my daughter. And then they were like, oh my gosh, and can I get a picture with you? And I was like, sure. Yeah.
And your mother wasn't even Jewish.
No, she's just a proud mom.
My mother's in a wheelchair. My son wrote a book. I've seen it, to her 99-year-old mom. You gotta read my son's book. She gives all her 107-year-old friends my books. And then I saw them last week. It was her 90th birthday. Danny, I loved your books.
Happy birthday.
Terrific. Thank you very much. All right, you have a question. How was your experience on Charmed?
My experience on Charmed. I was in about 6 different episodes of Charmed, and I'd have to say, honestly, like it varied. It was some days were really great, and some days were challenging. I had an incident with a crew member, and looking back on it, I could have gotten him fired very easily if I had spoken up in the moment. But we decided just to talk it out amongst himself. He came to me. I'll just tell you what it is, because I'm kind of dancing around it. So this crew member decided he was going to take a Polaroid picture of my backside. I was wearing like a short dress.
Okay.
And while I wasn't looking, this is like while I'm working on set, and he took a Polaroid picture, and I heard the Polaroid go off, and I like turned around, and then like he denied that he took this picture. And I was like, listen, just give me the picture and we won't have a problem. Right. Cause I didn't want a picture of my bottom, like, you know, it wasn't bare, but it was dressed, but like, I didn't want it floating around anyway. So
of course.
Long story short, he was crying. He's like, I don't want to get fired. I'm sorry. You know, so I took scissors, cut it up, and we threw it out. But that was one end of the spectrum. And the other end of the spectrum is I worked with a lot of wonderful, lovely people, and I got hired again and again on that show. So it's great.
Very cool. All right, race. I've lost track. I think number 8 maybe, or 9, whichever the next one is. I number all the photos for race. All right, here's a big one. Look at this one. Let's talk about that. Who is that guy, Erin?
That's Matt McConaughey.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah. We had a lot of fun. How much time do we have? Because I have a fun story about that.
We could do about a minute. If you go right now, we have about a minute. Go.
Okay, so how I got that job was I knew the producer, and I saw this breakdown on the breakdowns, and I was like, oh wow, I could totally play this part. And so he brought me in for that part that I wanted, and then he brought me in for another part the role of Leslie Fair, which is the part I ended up getting. And I felt great about like booking this job because it was something that like I saw, I made a call, I put myself out there to, you know, say, hey, listen, I would really love to audition for this part. And I didn't end up getting the part I wanted, but I ended up getting this part that has a nice scene with Matthew. And in fact, this character comes back to play a significant role in the sequel, Lincoln Lawyer 2, which is yet to be made, but hopefully will be made in the near future. So, you know, everything happens for a reason. And, you know, I'm just really, really grateful and really blessed to have some really great people that have hired me in this business.
That's terrific. I remember when this movie came out, I was so thrilled. I was so thrilled for you because, I mean, this was a big movie. You know, everyone saw this. Matthew was huge. I mean, he's still huge, but he was certainly huge at the time. And it was a great scene in that elevator there. And you look like you'd want to tell him to go F himself. Like, leave me alone. Go away.
I did in one of the takes. It wasn't written. Yeah. I did say, all right, you effing.
Yeah.
Or, you know, effing a-hole. And then I walk out.
Right.
Line.
And most women wouldn't do that to Matthew McConaughey. Let's face it, right?
Right, but my character would, and so so we did it with the improv line, and then we did it again as it was written, and then I ended up keeping my improv line, which was nice. And the director told me at the wrap party, he said, you know, you have my favorite improv line of the whole movie, so that was fun, and we had a good time. Matt and I had a great time. We were just joking and messing around like the whole time.
That's excellent. All right, we have to take a break, pay some bills. Race is going to kill me. We'll be right back with Erin Carufel in a couple of minutes.
While most near-death experiencers return to this plane of existence with alluring tales of their time spent in the presence of the divine, what happens when one crosses the veil into the afterlife, into the void? In the new book, Dying to Meet Them, Mindy Toutfest describes her journey to the afterlife after a devastating aneurysm, how a strange turn of events would lead her to spiritual growth, divine healing, UFO experiences, and a greater understanding of the universe. Get your copy of Dying to Meet Them today at Amazon.com or visit unxmedia.com for more information on this book and more amazing selections from UnX Media Publishing at unxmedia.com.
This is Margie Kay, and I'd like to say thank you to all of our KUNX show hosts, staff, listeners, and viewers for making us number one on Paranormal Talk Radio.
The UnX Network presents a health and wellness spiritually based brand of hemp-derived CBD products made by Hopewell Farm in Harrogate, Tennessee. We apply our Cathara energy work with all of our plants and products. Our products made in small batches with only 2 ingredients of pure hemp, full-spectrum crude oil, and coconut-derived MCT oil. Third-party lab tested for potency and legal THC levels with 6 strengths of 1 ounce oil to choose from. Know what you're buying and get what you pay for from Hopewell Farm. Applied directly to a specific area, Hopewell Farm topical salve in 1 ounce and ½ ounce sizes made with pure hemp crude oil, comfrey extract, and all natural ingredients. Find the Hopewell Farm link and coupon code on the UnX Network website at unxnetwork.com. That's unxnetwork.com.
And we're back. Race number 9. Number nine. Erin, do you know what that is? Number 9. That's before your time. That's from the Beatles' White Album. All right, Erin, tell us about this lovely little blonde girl here.
Yeah, so that's Amanda Seyfried and I working on a movie called Gone. She played this woman who is looking for her missing sister, and we think she's crazy. So we're actually after Amanda's character, and so the chase ensues. So yeah, we had fun. She's really sweet. She's very down to earth. She brought her dog to set. She brought her sister to set. She brought donuts to set. we had fun.
I mean, the two of you look like you really got along very nicely.
Yeah, she's really very sweet.
Did you like being a police officer?
Yeah, I loved it. It was fun because I got to shadow the Portland police. I flew up early to Portland on my own dime to shadow the Portland police before filming, because Portland police are just very different than Los Angeles Police Department.
Oh yeah, of course.
I did some ride-alongs with LAPD, the Sheriff's Department in Los Angeles. I went through the police academy here in Los Angeles and did some training with them, and then I flew up and did some ride-alongs with Portland Police. Again, I love immersing myself in the research of a role and just kind of finding out like what the heartbeat of that character is and what drives that character and what the fabric of that is. And it was fun. It was lots of fun.
That's terrific. That's what Robert De Niro and Dustin Hoffman, certain of the all-time greats, they literally become immerse and become the other person.
Yeah, it's part of the work. I feel.
You're in good company. You're in good company. All right, number 10. I like this one. All right, so that's Chris Pine. He looks like he's about 12 and a half, maybe 13. This is before he's famous, I think, right?
Yeah, this was early. This was 2001, CSI Miami. And I guest starred on that. Opposite him, I played his girlfriend, who he ends up murdering. And again, like, just had a great time. We ended up dating briefly.
I was going to ask you, because you're both so attractive. That looked like a match made in heaven right there. Did you really? You dated Chris Pine? See, I never knew that. You never told me that one.
Yeah, just briefly,
It's a good little story. Yeah.
And but it was lots of fun, to be guest starring on CSI Miami.
Good for you. Race number 11 is also Erin and Chris. No, 11. That's 12. There it is.
Yeah.
I highlighted. Yeah. So that one looks. When I saw this, Erin, I'm like, I wonder if she dated this guy in real life. That looks pretty intimate right there.
Yeah. Well,
right?
Our characters were in love, so.
Okay. So, and you like to immerse yourself. So there you go.
There you go.
There you go. Okay. Number 12. What show is this?
That was Without a Trace.
And tell us, what was your role? What was your role in that show?
So I played Willa Hyatt on this program, and my husband and I go into a convenience store with our 5-year-old, and then a gunman comes in to rob the place. He's pointing the gun at me in this picture and ends up shooting us both. We both die in front of our little 5-year-old.
Just every parent's worst nightmare, apparently.
Yeah.
Who is that actor behind you?
He's an actor named Kevin Foster. Okay. Yeah, and actually him and I worked together a couple times. We worked together on Buffy the Vampire Slayer and on this. Very nice guy.
Yeah, you look like you're pretty shocked there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty awful. I got a bad vibe there. All right, now number 13. I think now you're dead now on this one. This is you. This is you dead. Tell us about you being dead. How long did it take to do the makeup there?
Probably about 45 minutes to an hour. I mean, they're pretty well versed, the makeup department, in making somebody look dead. They're pretty good at what they do. So that's me and Sophia Milos, and she's examining my body. And it's interesting because like one of the producers came up to me in between the takes and said to me, you're in rigor mortis. So I had to use all my dance training and this is where it came in handy to stiffen my body so that when they lifted me up, I was stiff as a board. So that was cool.
What is Sophia? Is she nice?
Yeah. I didn't work with her a whole bunch,
Well, you were dead mostly, I guess, right?
Mostly, yeah.
Had to have a good conversation with a cadaver. I would imagine. All right, number 14. I like this one. This is a fun picture. That's and that's what's his name from who quit Hill Street Blues way too early.
Right. David, what's his name? What's his
What
last
the
name?
hell is his name? What the hell is his name?
David something. He was
He
nice.
was
He had
was
a
the
really good voice.
he was the star of I believe it was Hill Street Blues season 1. Became huge, and then he pulled a Shazam.
Carradine.
What is it?
Carradine.
No, it's not. That's not David Carradine.
What's
No,
his
look,
name? I don't know.
look up Hill Street Blues season 1. The guy that quit. Anyway, he was a huge star one season. Then he wanted a huge raise. They kicked him out, and he regretted it ever since. He pulled the Suzanne Summers from Three's Company. But that's a great picture, Erin. See, that would be a good Halloween photo for you to go out with.
Right, yeah.
That's you look pretty scary right there, quite frankly.
Yeah, I do. I look really dead.
You look dead. Are you going to take your little girls out to Halloween this year?
Absolutely, every year.
How old are they now?
So my little one is 1, and my older daughter is 5.
5 and 1. Is the one old enough to go trick or treating?
Oh yeah, we'll take her for sure.
That's
Put her in a little wagon. We have
so
little pumpkin lights for the wagon, and we'll let her get out and walk to the door.
Caruso, brother.
Thank you,
David Caruso. Thank you, Race, my brother. Yeah, David Caruso. That's him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember I was in the morgue scene where I'm like on that steel table, and he just has this really resonant voice. And I think in between takes, I said, "You've got a great voice." And he said, "Thank you." He's like, "You're like the only person that has ever complimented me around here," or something. You could tell that there was some like history to what he was saying. Like he didn't like feel appreciated or something on set. And
Interesting.
at least that was my take from what he said to me. And so I was like, "Oh, well, it's true," Yeah,
no, he's a fantastic actor. He just did himself wrong. Whoever his business advisor was on Hill Street Blues, they didn't go right for him. Number 15, Race, my brother. 15. All right, what show is this?
So this is Here and Now. It was a HBO series created by Alan Ball.
Right.
Alan Ball, who did True Blood and 6 Feet Under.
Right.
Yeah. So I recruited on this program. It starred Tim Robbins and Holly Hunter, and unfortunately, we only lasted a season. I thought it would have more legs, considering it was Alan Ball series, but only lasted a season. And that is Raymond Lee, the actor who's over the shoulder, you see, and then he went on to do Quantum Leap. And my character is secretly in love with his character. So
there you go.
Drama ensues.
Yeah, Alan Ball did 6 Feet Under, then he did True Blood, right? And he had a great record. And then this one, I remember it came and went pretty quickly.
Yeah, but I'm sure he's got more in his pocket.
That's terrific. That's a very nice photo of you. Number 16. Okay, that's you at the far left. Jennifer Garner's dying or something. Tell us what this is.
So this is from a movie called Peppermint, and I played her ICU doctor, and that's a detective. His name's John. The actor's name's John, and and it was kind of a full circle moment because I stunt doubled Jennifer in Daredevil, and I quit doing stunts around 2008, 2009.
Okay.
Because I wanted to do the job of the person I was doubling, right? I was like, I want to act like I'm an actor. Like this, my training is acting. I wanted to act, but I got into stunts because I was a martial artist and I was getting hired a lot as a stunt person, which I'm really grateful for. All of the experience that I had as a stunt woman. But I stunt doubled her. I was one of 3 stunt doubles for Jennifer in Daredevil. And then here I am, fast forward years later in a scene with her, so like we had a good time chatting about that in between takes, just the fact that like, here we are working with each other again in just a different.
Did she remember you?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's cool.
Absolutely. And
did you ever see, was Ben Affleck ever on the set during either era?
Well, Ben Affleck was around for Daredevil because he was in Daredevil. He played Daredevil. So
Oh,
yeah, so that's I think where they met and fell in love, I think.
there you go. Well, that makes sense. Okay, so
Yeah.
you met Ben Affleck at one point, then I guess.
Yeah, I met and worked with him on Daredevil for weeks and weeks. So that was.
I'm gonna have to rent that again. You know what? I remember that was a good one. I liked it. I'll rent it again.
Yeah, I stunt doubled her in the playground scene. If you go back and
Okay.
But what
All right.
was about this? Unless you have to move on.
Yeah. Do you have one more thing about this one?
No, I'm just gonna say I played an ICU doctor, and what was fun about this was I reached out to USC Hospital and asked to shadow a female ICU doctor, which I did. I ended up doing rounds with her like all day long, and that was really interesting. Just like going into the patient's room and again, just trying to find the heartbeat and the breath of who this character is. So.
Well, that's like the first line when I introduced you. You are a chameleon-like, a chameleon-like versatile actress. You are.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's the ultimate compliment. If you can become another character, that means you're really gifted in your field. You're an incredible athlete. Where did that drive come from? How do you stay in shape? And Race, let's look at 17, which is an incredible photo. Look at that photo. I love this.
Well, I'm not jumping in the air doing.
I know, but I liked it better this way. It looks like you're flying.
Yes, I'm jumping in the air and I'm doing the splits. Yeah, so that was I think it was a Nike shoot that I did, or a Nike test shoot. Just kind of showing off some of my martial arts kicks.
But you've been an athlete since what? High school, I think, right?
Oh, before that, yeah.
Tell us some of your remarkable athletic sports stuff.
So I'm a black belt in Taekwondo. I also got into kickboxing when I was in college. My junior year abroad, I studied at the University of Kent in Canterbury, England, and I traveled around England competing as a kickboxer. Never lost any of my bouts because they put me up against women. When I trained with men, and I trained with men who are stronger than me.
Wow, sure.
So to make me better. And then so when I got into the ring with a woman, it was just like a mental game for me. I was like, oh, I'm going to beat you. Like I just knew I had the certainty about it. So I traveled to England competing as a kickboxer, which was lots of fun, and done all sorts of martial arts. But I'd say Taekwondo was probably the thing that I trained in most, and it was great because I got to bring my dance training to it, the flexibility, the coordination. It just had me speed through the belts.
That's really great. I mean, you're really a full package, kiddo. You know, you have a lot of talents. Race, we can kill that one. I love that picture. All right, so here we come. It's time, Erin. Drum roll, please. You have a ghost story you've never shared in public. Please tell us what you can tell us. Don't get uncomfortable, but get uncomfortable and tell me.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm uncomfortable talking about it simply because it affects me. Like, I don't watch horror movies. I don't watch scary movies because they really affect me. And they affect me, at night, in the middle of the night when it's, the lights are off and it's just like me and my thoughts. So it's speaking about it is not something that I do in general. But I'll share it with you now. So this was probably around the year 2000. I was living in a home in an area called Beverlywood.
Oh yeah, sure.
And I was living with my boyfriend at the time, and his parents had a house literally right next door. The home next door came for sale, and my boyfriend and his brother bought it. Anyways, we were living there, and he was out on a business trip, and I was home alone. It was about 11 o'clock, and I'm in bed, about ready to go to sleep, and I hear the blinds rustling in the bedroom next door. I hear the blinds rustling, okay. And then I hear a window slide open. So I'm like all of a sudden on alert, like somebody's breaking in.
Right.
That's what I thought. And then all of a sudden I could hear voices. I heard like two people talking to each other.
Wow.
And then my eyes are on the door because the bedroom door is shut, but it's lighter in the hallway than it is in the bedroom. So I just had my eyes were peeled to the door because I was like, any moment somebody's going to come into this room. And I didn't know. I mean, my heart was just beating out of my chest. I could barely talk. I could barely do anything. And then I see through the slat of the door, I see like somebody pass by, right? So it was like light, dark, light, like somebody had just like walked past. And again, I'm getting chills. I'm getting chills now just thinking about it. My heart's beating. I could hear people talking. I saw this shadow, and then I see it again. But from this time, it went back. The person went back into the room. And I'm freaking out. And I grab my phone and I call my boyfriend's mother who lives next door.
Right.
And I'm telling her like that somebody's in the house, and I'm shaking, and she's like, call the police. Right. And so I hang up, and right away I call 911, and I'm on the phone with the dispatch, and I'm like, somebody's in my home. I'm here alone. I can hear voices. I can see them. I can't see any faces, but I know, like, I saw a shadow of somebody pass in the hallway. And she's like, no worries, ma'am. The police are on their way, and within minutes, I could hear like the police sirens, like police squad cars surrounding the house. And so I find the courage to get out of bed, and I run to the bathroom, and I open the bathroom window because I'm thinking they have to get into the house somehow. So I told the dispatch, I said, I'm on the side of the house, have them come in the window. And so before you know it, this Los Angeles police man comes through my bathroom window. He's got his gun drawn. Wow. And he goes and he starts to search the home. And I'm freaking out, like, what is he going to find, right? Like some weirdo, like in the
transient. Yeah.
Whatever. I didn't know what to expect. I was just so grateful that somebody had come to my rescue. And before you know it, he had like gone to he was clearing rooms, and then he let his other colleagues into the front. And so now the police were filling my house. There was police everywhere. And then they come into the bedroom and they say, there's nobody here. And I said, well, what do you mean? And they said, and the window that you said that they came in through is locked, and it's locked from the inside. So there's no way that somebody could have come in and then gone back out because the window was locked from the outside.
Right. Okay.
And I was like, well, that's great. Either I'm crazy, and I said this to the policeman. I said, either I'm crazy or I have a ghost in my house. And either way, I'm not happy about this.
So you said that to the police?
Yeah. And they were all just kind of like, shrugging their shoulders. Like, I don't know. Like, we didn't find anybody. I don't know. This girl's like crazy or something. But I know what I saw. And it was just so unexplainable to me. I was just like, ugh. And then a couple other things happened in that house. It had these big bay windows up at the front. This is another time, like maybe a few months later, these windows were open, and there was lights on, so I could, if I looked, and there were windows over here, so like if I looked over here, I could see the reflection. I saw this like black shadow. It was a man who had this hat on. It was like one of those Zorro type hats.
Okay.
And it was a shadow walking past me and into my wall. And I was like, I turned back real quick because I was like, who's here?
Wait, this is inside your house?
Inside my house.
Wow.
Right? But I could see in the reflection.
Okay.
And this shadow,
man,
whatever
shadow,
it was,
shadow, yeah,
when I was a student at USC, I was living in an off-campus apartment, off-campus from the university, and that same shadow, like I was looking out the window and I could see like the kitchen back in the, because the kitchen was lit, and I was looking out, and what was out there was like, it was a long drop. It was like, we were 2 stories, 3 stories up. So there was like no way that anybody could be walking out there.
Right.
Yeah. And I saw that same like black hat, black figure walk behind me, like into my stove. Like it was just freaked me out. It just freaked me out.
So hold on. So you saw the same character at USC, and then again years later in a house in Beverlywood.
Yes.
So the same character apparently followed you, maybe.
I don't know. I don't like to think about it.
Have you ever thought who it might be, like a grandfather or something like that?
No, I honestly, like, I haven't even asked myself that question, because it just really, like, the idea of it scares me. And then that house that I said that I called the police from.
Yeah.
My boyfriend, this is maybe a year later, something like that. I don't remember the exact timeline, but him and I were coming home one night. It was late, and we had a roommate that was living with us. Her name was Angie, and Angie lived with us, and we were coming home. It was just him and I, and the whole house was dark, and it had like a frosted glass, like right next to the front door, that was like perpendicular to the front door,
Okay.
and was where our kitchen table was. And as we were walking up to the front door, I saw like a person in white, like go around the table, brush past the frosted glass, and like kind of just do like a walk around. Like, I was like, oh, Angie's home. That's what I said to him at the time. Like, oh, Angie's home.
Was it solid? Did it look solid?
Well, it didn't, because it was a frosted glass.
Oh, you couldn't tell. You couldn't tell.
It was to me, it was Angie.
I got you. Wow.
So a person walked from around the table, and it was white. And then when we get home, we walk in the door, all the lights are out, and she's not home. And I like start crying because I'm so like freaked out. I'm like, what did I just see? Like, if Angie's not home, what did I just see? Like, am I insane? Am I crazy? It was just like, clearly like something had gone past this, like brushed up against the frosted glass for me to be like, oh, Angie's home. Like that's a person just walked in the kitchen around the table. Did your
boyfriend see what you thought was Angie?
No,
no,
just you. See it. Just me. And so that's why I was so confused and upset, because I'm like, it was unexplainable. And that's why talking about it, it's just like, it just gets me it gets me upset in a way that like has me relive it and rethink it and just kind of be in mystery about the whole thing. Because it's like, I don't know, I'm a very like, I don't believe, I'm not a believer, so like, but, and it's totally unexplainable. And that's what upsets me.
Well, you've had some true paranormal experiences. That's what those were. I've had many. I'm thinking, when you were alone in bed, you said you saw 2 figures having a conversation. I'm wondering if one was the man in black, and like Johnny Cash, and the other was Angie, the lady in white. Maybe it was a couple. Listen, Erin, maybe it was a couple that used to live in the house. Maybe they were very pleasant, nice people, and maybe they just show up every so often, and they didn't throw anything or hit you or hurt you or nothing like that, right?
They didn't enter my room, but they certainly freaked me out. And when I saw that, it sounded like 2 men talking. It wasn't a man and a woman. It was two men, and that's why I was like, someone's breaking into the house. Okay, I gotta call the cops. This is crazy.
Could you make out any of the words that they were saying at all, or it's just mumble? No,
it was talking. It was clearly talking, and movement, and the sound of blinds moving, like somebody's coming through the window, but
the window was closed and locked the whole time.
Closed and locked from the inside. So
Wow.
it's like,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, I was that certain that I called the police and got
Yeah.
20 cops in my house within, you know, a matter of minutes.
Yeah. And I know you pretty well. I know you pretty well. You're super practical. You are very practical. You're not going to call the police unless you're convinced there's people in your house.
Right.
So
Unless
those are true paranormal experiences. My next question I was going to say is, do you believe in reincarnation? It doesn't sound, you know, or past lives or ghosts or poltergeists, because my father came to me after he died. My grandfather came to me after he died. I've had numerous experiences. I know that stuff is real. I know a lot of that stuff is real. And I wasn't necessarily open-minded to it, Erin, but when it happens and it's so incredibly obvious, like right after my dad died, right after he visited me in my room several times, I knew it was him. I knew it was he. He spoke to me. He turned my light on and off. He played my drums. I knew it was my father. So some of that stuff is real. I'm so proud of you that you shared that. Thank you very much. It means a lot to me. Please tell me you told the boyfriend we got to get the hell out of this goddamn house, right? We got to get out of this house is haunted. Get me out of here.
I did. And it's just, I don't know.
Well, listen,
it really affects me. Like movies, especially. Like I won't watch scary movies.
You're an empathetic person, and you have a lot of feelings, and something happened to you that disturbed you, and so nothing since you moved out of that house. Is that right?
No.
Okay. Well, good. I'm glad.
Me too.
I'm glad. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I know that was hard. That's so sweet, and I really appreciate it. What do you have coming up next, and how can people contact you?
How can people contact me? I guess they can follow me on social media at Erin Carufel for Instagram and on Facebook. I'm also on Facebook. And what I have coming up next is I have a couple TV shows that I'm working on, executive producing and starring in both of these shows. One's a sketch comedy show, and the other one is just a straight comedy. And I'm going to be working in both of those. And I'm also alongside Arthur Sarkisian, who produced all the Rush Hour films.
Oh yeah.
He's producing along with myself an action comedy feature, and we're working on getting that together. I'm going to be starring in that, so I'm excited that him and I are teaming up to get that project off the ground.
That's great, and that's all through Irish Rose Entertainment, your company, is that right?
That's right.
So between your husband, your little girls, your company, your acting, your taekwondo, and your ghosts, you're pretty busy. You're pretty busy. Listen, we gotta run. A race will kill me. Thank you for doing this dopey show for me. It was terrific. I really enjoyed this. Thank you. I love you, and I hope we'll do another lunch at Spago sometime in the new year. Okay.
I'd love that. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you for doing this dopey show. I always say that to all my people. Thank you, everyone, for watching Live from Hollywood. It's Paranormal Tonight. Next week, I have a former Playboy bunny who is a psychic, and she channels Jim Morrison. So what more could you want? And it's on Halloween. What more could you want? I'm Dan Harary. Have a good week. Thank you for watching Live from Hollywood. It's Paranormal Tonight. Bye-bye.